because the thing is, even though I've been frustrated with it and alongside Facebook still, I'm not going away. It's just I figured out a very nice way to do this because it's exactly what happens. Most of the stuff that is suggested for small channels on YouTube, it doesn't do that stuff. Especially if you have a channel that talks about stuff that is sensitive. Because supposedly my niche is sensitive. I don't get how mine is sensitive. I don't get it. It's probably because the fact that because since I talk about stuff that's a bit darker, stuff that may be a bit idiot proof in the way I go about it. How about now? Better, worse, or how about now? Now? Good? 7? I think I have my head. In my head. Make this do it. Yeah, because the thing is because my how about now? Do I sound better now? No. Or am I sounding like I'm too far away? Or because I'm naturally soft spoken. That I can't help. Anyway, so. How about now? Even though I kind of don't want to have this on my head. Does it sound better? Worse? Amazing. Okay, I know that. I now know then that way you can actually hear me now. Yay. Sounds so much better. Okay. Now that I know, why in the bloody heck then? Here. That confuses me. Because how much battery life does my phone have? Only 13 bloody percent. Oh, love wait. Oh, whatever. Well, I'll try and make this quick because I'm not really. Yeah, my phone has like no battery life, and since good old Apple decided we're not gonna put the mic into the same spot as this. We're just gonna keep everything in one slot. Before we had this spot, so that we can stick the headphones in, and then you can charge it at the same time. But some lazy twat had decided we are only gonna have one hole instead of two. Anyway, So pretty much, oh, I can't even put in the chat what I was wanting to do, but oh well. Essentially, really, what I was meaning to say for coming from here, like where to go from here, it's really just I'm not really sure which avenue you guys want the channel to go to because I mean, part of the reason why it takes some time for me to actually have something get uploaded, it's because sometimes I think I'm not sure that they like this. I'm not sure if they're really having any interest in this specific thing. Like, for example, say if I was wanting to do like I was thinking about doing the tarot readings, but those haven't gotten much traction. Same with the even, and probably the worst one's been like the deck walkthroughs. That one's been like the most ugh, and like deck reviews and all that. That hasn't been the most substantial. The only one that has been substantial and really, like actually really gaining some traction has been anything involving Lilith, which I'm not surprised, but still. Because really, at least for in regards to like this niche, usually it's very difficult because, well, for one, most of the time when somebody talks about the esoteric stuff like this, it usually is the same thing most of the time. While there are some people that say that it is ever changing, and that I can agree with, but it's when it comes to somebody's. Well, yeah, because I mean, I've been really looking back and taking a good look at all my stuff and thinking something is nothing's really been catching off, and especially after the end of December. Actually, not December, November. The start of November up until now, and it's still kind of happening. I've lost a total of how many was it? About 230 subscribers within a matter of a month, just like at once. A big amount over the whole month of December, and it's still trickling down. And it's making me think, okay, so totally, yeah, YouTube, you're totally for the creator. You're totally, nope, you're not fooling me. Sorry. I mean, heck, at least you know I'm not homophobic. Oh, did I say that out loud? Hey, don't look at me. I wasn't the one who was like, oh, you cannot have the thumbnail of two guys hugging each other. God forbid. God forbid. I don't look at me. I wasn't the one that was starting the hissy fit. You can't have that as a thumbnail. Okay. Homophobic. I said what I said, and they don't like it. Well, not my problem. But I really just am wondering, usually, like what you guys would want me to be mainly focusing on, such as still going on about like providing more fine details of like of Lilith, like how she, let's see, like how she can actually assist you in some endeavors if she chooses to. Yeah, and probably the part that takes the cake I've noticed is like the my most popular one. Yeah, and I mean I get pretty feisty and I get pretty snappy. I mean that's just I just get really snappy when somebody miss. Yeah, though even part of the other issue that keeps me kind of thinking like, so algorithm of YouTube. Are you really for the creative now, or are you just saying it? Because when you're able to see through BS, and when you're just able to see through it, you just can't help but just think, does this company or individual think I'm this stupid? I can't count how many times. In fact, it's getting close to daily. Yeah, I've noticed that too. And I think I might be one of them. And if, I mean, if I'm one of them, they probably they probably don't like the fact that I'm over here all, oh, you're gonna call Lilith a demon and heart and I can't even say that. Oh God, I just hate that word in my mouth. So you're calling her all these nasty things, and you're saying that she kills children and murders them. Well, why would she, who had her own children killed, go and kill another woman's child? That doesn't logically make sense. And even the same thing with some people think that it's okay to think that she's all about, you know, the sexual side, which is, true. It is, but the amount of true in it is that's not her core, and by core I mean that's not what she's all about. That's a part that comes from the core. The core is, to best put it, completely all about empowerment of the self. The self is the most important, vital core teaching she gives. She doesn't care about sticking it. In fact, if she was all about going in that direction, she would have to rely on someone, and she's the opposite. Now, plant wise, like regarding the herbs and all that, I mean, I have a playlist, I believe, and I put a few videos in there too. But what was that other thing? Yeah, and it, especially the part about going with thinking that goddess figures are all like, oh, divine, divine woman figure. Can I, do anything vulgar with it? And I can't. I was, if I could, I would talk like that and speak, like actually say in a way that's kind of like being satiric to those kind of people that think, oh, Lilith, oh, she must be one of those kind of goddesses, huh? I'm ready. No, I just can't put myself to that. And even at that, why are you putting? And this is something I really don't. I mean, I'm not going down to somebody's way of practice, but my thought process is this. So you have a divine being in front of you that's feminine. How come the first thing you think about is sticking it? Why don't you instead go towards in the highest dignity possible? Mm-hmm. Or yeah, especially probably one of my most favorites. My most favorite one has got to be, there's this one kid that actually was telling people about how to do vampirism, and one of his suggestions was to actually bite someone. Bite someone. Don't do that. For one, that's assault. Two, that's disorderly conduct. Three, you're gonna get yourself punched in the face. Yeah, but I mean, it's kind of concerning too. But one, even another thing that I'm quite the big pushy, loud, feisty advocate, not having BS stance is, especially when it comes to say, like say if there's something like, gosh, I can't even say it because just the thought of it is just making me just get agitated. But when there's an incident where, like, say somebody is striking a woman, kind of like in the Middle East, like the really bad parts. Yeah, and it's just like, well, I mean, speaking of that, I'll get to that in a second. But anything like that involves some somebody think that it's, or some guy that think it's, well, in my belief, I'm allowed to hit her. So your faith says you're allowed to hit a woman just because you feel like it, or because she was disobedient. Well, ever have the idea of like saying, well, she said no, she doesn't want to do it. I'm going to respect that and be considerate of her. No, I'm just going to hit her. Does that make sense? No. No means no, so don't do it. She doesn't want to do it. Step back. Do it. I mean, for goodness sakes, that's like kindergartner level stuff. And even at that, if you have to use a faith to justify you striking or assaulting someone, no. No. Because if. No. I can't even try to even make any sense of it because the first thing I think is, okay, somebody doesn't want to do what you're trying to push them to do. They said, no, I don't want to do it. So then why are you going to be extra pushy and then smack them? What are you going to gain out of smacking them other than, everybody looking at you like, wow, dude, do you not know what no means? And now you got a hissy fit and then hit them just to get what you want? Wow, no wonder you guys are single. That's none of my business. Hopefully, wait, how much battery do I have left? Yeah, my battery is kind of low. So, probably what I might end up doing, I'll have to find. Yeah, and even at that, because since I have like not that much battery life left. Speaking of, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. Because the thing is, too many people that I've actually met onto YouTube, hello Moon, is that I've met a good handful of people that were on YouTube and kind of still are. They had so much information on their channels, and then either one, they left, two, they took the content down because of just, for whichever reason of their own, but primarily because of just how the community has gone towards them, and or any other reason. And there's been way too many of these great people starting to distance and separate themselves. And when somebody that has provided information for everybody to take a look at and learn from, and if it's gone, that's just another source that's reliable out the window. And then there's more BS that comes in to fill it. So, unlike, unlike some of these other channels that kind of point at, like, for example, this is probably the biggest example, those that practice Satanism, there are countless channels of other people turning and then saying, oh, Satanists, they're the enemy. Yeah, well, but then again, I'm also checking in with other people, so that way they actually have something to keep them coming back to. But other channels that actually point at Satanism and say they're the reason why they kill babies, they murder children, they do all these horrible things. But the thing is that they do not even know what the practice is all about, or they've actually invested any time in it. So how could you say how it is, except by following a stereotype? Unless if you've gone down the path yourself and actually met and actually interacted with some of the people of that faith, Satanism, zip it, piss it, and stick it. You can't say how somebody else's faith is if you haven't spent time in it and learned from it. You can't. I can because I've gone down the path to an extent before I got dismissed. They do not kill babies. They do not take children, kidnap them. They do not sacrifice animals. They do not do that. But again, the whole focus of the path of it is the path within the best standing of the self. That's the core. How they go about it, seeing the seeing Satanas as a actual divine being or a concept, that's on them. You can't. That's as far as anybody can go, because it's their practice. Is their practice of it, and it's all focused on this individual, and they can go about it in the spiritual way. They can go about it in the atheistic way. They can go about it in a way as seeing it as a concept, or they can even see as empowering themselves to the best that they can be without any kind of spiritual attachment or affiliation with it. It's really flexible as well, since it's connected to the dark. In the dark, things that are dark, even though you can't see it, they actually have the potential to bring out anything. Because from the dark, whatever you say is in the dark, that's what comes out. But that's none of my business. So, but when it comes to like with the tarot, because one of the things I don't, how am I going to put this? It's really difficult as a, well, there are some, well, I mean, it's just very difficult because I'm somebody that just likes to advocate for at least the people of any kind of faith to practice whatever they want to practice. That does not include hitting each other. It does not include justifying the right to strike somebody else and think it's okay. What do I think of Aleister Crowley? I think he was brilliant. And you're probably going to be looking at me like, are you nuts? No. He understood what the occult is. Like his quote, doeth what thy will. Yeah. And that's the same thing what I say. You are free to do whatever you deem fit and whatever you want to do. But whatever happens next, you're at fault. That's how the occult is. You can do whatever you like. You can have any intention or any focus point or anything that you pursue. And how you go about getting it, that's up to you. But no matter where you end up, that's on you. You ended up exactly where you wanted, you're at fault. Somebody loses their job, you're at fault. Somebody's life ends, you're at fault. That's just how unpredictable it is. It's nothing like this Final Fantasy stuff thinking that, oh, hex. No. If you're good at energy work, then that's completely different. But thinking that it's all like romanticized fantasy, no. And by romanticize, I mean like kind of like the real definition of romance, which is like the medieval story. Like the old English kind of story, not like the romance like cheesy woozy wooey, lick me in the face a few times romance, no. But for like the tarot, the issue that I have, hey Olivia, the issue that I have with doing the tarot reading is that, well, for one, if I'm going to be doing reading for a sign, I mean, I think like, okay, am I going to be getting a lot of people for their sun, their moon, their rising, their Venus, their Mercury, their Jupiter? I mean, that's the only disadvantage of being also an astrologer, because the first thing I think is like, okay, so Aries sun, okay. And usually the sun is not really the most important one to look for. But if you're wanting to actually see, by technicality, which one would be the best sign to actually watch, if you're getting tarot readings anyway, like on YouTube or whatever, always try to see your, well, in this order, ascendant, because that's your physical experience on Earth. Moon, which is your mind, your emotions, your imaginations, your thoughts. And believe it or not, the soul the sun isn't probably not the most important because really all that the soul can do in this mechanical suit, this body, is just sit there and just sit and be there while the body, the ascendant,